What is polyamory? Polyamory, like polyamorous? What is that? And how does it work? I Googled it. And according to Google, polyamory involves being in multiple romantic relationships at one time with the express knowledge and informed consent of all partners. It is a type of open relationship that follows certain guidelines agreed upon by the people involved. It's different from monogamy or the practice of having just one committed partner at a time. My name is Eric, and today I am going to talk about my manhunt experiences. Welcome to the craziness that lives inside my head. Manhunt, I don't know if it still exists, but there was a time, I hate to tell on myself, but back in, I'll say 2006, the period from 2006 to 2011, let's say, I was dating the Dateline. Everybody did the Dateline. That's when the Datelines really was starting to get busy, and everybody was on the Dateline. And one of the Datelines was called Manhunt. And I went on Manhunt, and I found a couple of guys. It's like any other dating thing. But a couple of guys that I did meet on Manhunt. I met one guy. Forgot his name. Let's just say Jack. I met this guy named Jack, and we met at Barnes and Nobles, where I lived at in Connecticut, had Starbucks. So we met at Starbucks and Barnes and Nobles, and we liked what we saw. We talked. We liked okay. Then he gave me the lowdown. Now, let's be honest. I was younger and hornier. And he was saying, and we did like each other. I think we were very attracted to one another. And after we found out the attraction and made the agreement that we're going to go and fool around, he gave me the lowdown. What was the lowdown? He was in a polygamy relationship. I think it's polygamy or polyamorous, whatever you call it. I guess I just said it when I started off the show. Polyamorous. I can't even say the damn thing. Polyamorous relationship. He was in a 3-way relationship. Okay? It was 3 of them. And it was, dig this now. It was a 3-way relationship, and it was an open relationship. And what the hell does that mean? I asked him. He goes, well, I live with 2 other guys. And they have a 2-bedroom apartment in somewhere in Connecticut. If I live in Naugatuck, they live 2 towns, not between Danbury and they live somewhere near Danbury at the time. And that's interesting because I live in Naugatuck. Naugatuck was a good 40 minutes from Naugatuck. And I was on his way to his. I had my car. He had his car because I got to follow him to his house. But anyway, before we left to go to his house, he says, "I'm in this relationship." Now, listen to what I'm saying. What he's saying, he told me. I said, "I'm in a relationship. I got an older guy, my older buddy. He's in his 70s, and he said he's living with his other buddy. He's in his 50s." And this guy, I take that back. His other buddy was living in his 30s. I take that back. Because he was definitely he was close to my age. So he was in his mid-40s, late 40s, early 50s. And at the time, I was in my 60s. So he said that the way their relationship is set up, he has to bring me home if they approve of me that him and I could fool around. Because it's an open relationship. Okay? And I'm like, well, I'll be honest with you. My attitude, when you horny, I'm like, oh, whatever. I mean, let's go. I haven't had it in a long time. Let's go and get this over with because I got things to do. So anyway, I follow him home. And he also said that the way the relationship is set up, now that's one way the relationship is set up. He could bring anybody, either one could bring anybody home. But if they home, they have to approve the person that he likes before he can fool around with them. Okay, that's one part. The other part of that relationship that he was in, there's only 2 bedrooms, and the 2 guys sleeps. I guess the 30-year-old guy and sleep in one bedroom, and the 70-year-old guy sleep in the other bedroom. He goes between 2 bedrooms. He spend 3 nights with the 30-year-old and 4 nights with the 70-year-old, and sometimes he switch over. He might spend 4 nights with the 30-year-olds and 3 nights with because he didn't have his own bed. He sleeps between the 2, and they didn't sleep on the same bed. He took turns sleeping with one of them. I'm like, whoa, wow. So I guess when he told me that, and then told me everything about the open relationship, I guess it's a relationship where. This is how I took it at the time. He was committed to the 30-year-old and committed to the 70-year-old, where they were committed, let's say, and they both allowed him to have this open relationship, whoever he wants to have sex with. Okay, I get it. So we get to his place, and I'm gonna be honest with you. We get there. I did meet sitting in the kitchen because you had to come in through the kitchen. I did meet the 70-year-old guy. Now, mind you. I was in, I guess, my late 50s, early 60s, and I mean, I hate to be prejudiced now that I'm in my 70s. Well, I wasn't interested in the 70-year-old guy. I mean, which didn't bother. I wasn't going to, And the other guy was at work. So anyway, he went to the bedroom. We was going to use the bedroom of the 70-year-old guy. We want to use his bedroom. Okay, we get into the bedroom. I started to take my clothes off. He came back because he left me in the bedroom to take my clothes off. He went, I don't know where he went, to the bathroom, whatever. But he did come back and he says, I have to ask you a question. And I said, what's the question? He said that his 70-year-old partner wants to have sex with me. And I said, no. And then he tried to plead his case. Oh, come on, this sex with me. You're going to have sex with me. It's going to be a 3-way. And I said, no. I said, no disrespect. I like you. I don't like your partner. He doesn't do anything for me. And I said, no. So he went and told the partner no, right? So anyway, came back. We did our thing. I got dressed, And as we were leaving, his partner gave me this dirty look. Oh my God. What's that expression? If looks could kill? If looks could kill, I would have been dead on the spot. And I couldn't understand that. I'm like, well, just because he told me this. He told me. But what happened, to make a long story short, what I really think happened, he didn't tell me the right story. He said the 2 guys have to approve of him if he wants to have sex with anybody else. I don't think that 70-year-old guy approved it, and he must have did it without because when he came back, he pleaded his case for me to have sex with that guy. I didn't want to have sex with him. I didn't come here to have sex with him. I came here to have sex with you. And anyway, that was one experience. I have many, but this dating thing, Manhunt. I met somebody else on Manhunt. Came to my house. Oh, they like me. We fooled around. Oh, you're great. You this. Oh my God. I'd like to see you again. Then he proposed. He goes, what do you think about polyamory relationships? And I said, what the hell is that? So he just made it simple. It's like a 3-way. I said, and not mind you. I said, well, it all depends. He said, oh, it depends. I said, yeah, who's this other person I'm going to have sex with? So we went online to see the picture of his person that he's supposed to have this relationship with. And I said, no. And he got kind of mad. Oh, come on, come, because he was begging me to go home with him to have sex with him. I said no. See, I can't do that. I'm not, I'm going to be honest with you, not to say I haven't done it. Now, in my younger days, I mean, we could talk about my days in the 70s when I was just carrying on. I mean, did I tell you about the time in the 70s there was a line to have sex with me? But anyway, that's a different story. But anyway, what I'm getting at is I have experienced this thing, this polyamory thing. And then when I think I did put something on one of my podcasts lately was about the etiquette. What do you call your lover and your best friend? Well, anyway, someone, one of my subscribers had put in the comments about this expression called the third. The kids today in the 2023, they're calling it the third. And of course, I Googled what that meant. And now have this thing is the third is when you agree to have a third person in your relationship. And this is the interesting is, usually but it depends on the rules of the relationship. That's how I look at it. And you have this third, the person, I guess, I don't know, the person who makes in the relationships first, the third person comes in is not as important as the first. I don't know. It's confusing. It's like a menage a trois. That's what it is. But it's a relationship. And this is not the first time I've heard this. Now, back in the 70s, I think I made a podcast about Raymond. Raymond, when I met Raymond, this is 73, I met Raymond. And then when I met him in the park, I'm such a slut. I met him in the park. And then he took me home to this brownstone in Brooklyn that he was sharing this brownstone with all these guys. And the matriarch, if you want to call it, the guy who owned the brownstone, who did the cooking, and who found the guys, I think it was like 10 of them, who found these guys. They was down on their luck. Raymond was always down on his luck. And he got hooked up with somebody who told him about this house. And then when I went there with Raymond, the guy was very nice to me. The older guy, the matriarch, was very nice to me. Oh, do you want dinner? He's cooking dinner. I said, no. Basically, I just want to fool around with Raymond, get the hell out of there. I think I was 22 at the time, 22, 23. But anyway, back then, I did thought about it. I said, wait a minute. He said this guy was like a benefactor, where guys who don't have, this is the matriarch, the old guy. And he was probably in his 70s at the time, in the 70s, where if you meet a guy who is down on his luck, he would take him into his brownstone, help him get on their feet and everything, and that's it. But when I'm sitting there, because they was trying to get me to have dinner with them, and I said no. They had a bedroom upstairs. So anyway, what happened was when I went to the bedroom upstairs, he had to go to the bathroom, whatever. And one of the guys that was downstairs in the kitchen, because they're supposed to be having dinner, came upstairs and started cruising me. And of course, I'm like, I wasn't having it. And then he came back at the bathroom. We did our thing, and I left. And after I left, the last thing came in my mind. I mean, I was thinking about it back then. I said, "Are they all screwing around?" I didn't think about the terminology menage a trois or polyamory. I just thought that this old man was picking up all these young guys, and he was a sugar daddy for all these young guys. There was a lot of them. Believe it or not, out of all the young guys that he was a sugar daddy for, there was only one guy that I liked. The rest of them, I think, oh, please. Anyway. And then I want to say this, too, about what now in the 2023s, they call it the third. Also, back in the 60s, they had a thing called wife swapping. There was baby boomers out there. Remember wife swapping? They had wife swapping. They had swingers. Swingers is when couples, they swing with one another. What else they have back there? They had that. Oh, I remember when they had flower children. Now, I don't know how true this is, but if somebody was a flower child and free love, that's what I thought it was all about too. They give you a flower, whatever, and then you go home to their house and you have sex, the bunch of them. Anyway, I'm too old to do that kind of stuff today. You just heard the craziness that lives inside my head.